Hello, I'm Melinda, and this is episode 1 of my knitting podcast. Welcome to all of you tuning in here to watch. Like I said, my name is Melinda, also known as Mint Knitwear, and I decided to take the plunge into recording my own podcast after being a longtime lurker in the knitting podcast realm of YouTube. I thoroughly enjoy watching, and I figured I would share a little bit about my own knitting journey here too. The game plan is to do the standard order of events with a knitting podcast. So talking about any recent finished objects, my works in progress or whips, going into any yarny acquisitions that I've had recently, and then maybe future plans, other knitty chat, just depending on what we have going on over here. So I guess I'll just jump right in. A little story before I talk about my first finished object I'm going to show. I've been knitting since I was in 3rd grade. That's when I first learned, and I initially learned from one of my mom's friends. However, she taught both my sister and I on straight big old plastic knitting needles and eyelash yarn. So I was not very successful with my first project. It turned me out for a little while. Got definitely more into crocheting, made coasters, pot holders, little pouches and things. And then picked knitting back up a lot more when I was in high school. We kind of had a huge trend going through our school, started by myself and one of my friends on the volleyball team, where our entire school was knitting. We'd have knitting needles poking out of our backpacks. Some of the teachers had to make rules against knitting in class because it just took us up by storm. So that's pretty funny. But in college, I definitely picked it up and engaged with knitting and crochet a lot more. And then since then, I have been knitting nonstop, always a bajillion projects on the needles. So I just want to share a little bit of that with you all. Talking about my first finished object. So it wasn't until probably 4 or 5 years ago when I actually created something off of a knitting pattern. I basically just self-drafted sweaters, hats, everything in between. There are definitely some garments I have that are have never been worn just because they're oddly shaped, or hats that are a little too bubbly or strange to actually fit on your head. So I've learned a lot throughout the process. And then I got into actually knitting patterns and testing a lot for other designers. And I felt the itch to actually put my own patterns out there for a while, but just never took the plunge. But here we are. I am coming to the end of my first test knit, where I'm hosting the test knit for one of my own designs, and that is for the Francis Pullover. So this is my first pattern, not just a self-drafted garment, but one that I've actually written down, and there are other people creating this, which is really bonkers to me. Having other people work up something that you wrote is wild, and it's so cool to see. So a little bit about the construction here. It's a circular yoke design with texture all across the yoke, and then just basically a straight down boxy shaped body. My sample has 3/4 length sleeves, but there are also options in the pattern to do full length sleeves, and of course yarn requirements for both. So let's do a little close up of the yoke design. I'm very proud of this top stitch, the motif there. So this is knit using 1 strand of fingering weight yarn and 1 strand of mohair. The fingering weight yarn that I used was a couple of one-of-a-kind skeins in a dark brown colorway from Montana Crochet that I got, and then I held that together with Sunnisgarn Tin Silk mohair in the color dark brown. So there's short row shaping at the top. The yoke goes into the textured yoke. And like I said, boxy body, nice and cozy. I finished this back in like April or May actually, so I haven't really gotten to wear it here. I'm up in Wisconsin, so we've had a nice warm summer to enjoy, but that means I haven't gotten to wear my mohair sweater yet. So definitely looking forward to fall for this colorway and the cozy sweater that I can wear. More details just about the actual pattern, so and the release timeline and everything. The testing period is going to be wrapping up here in just like 4 or 5 days, which is very exciting, and then I'll make the final edits and put it out into the world in just a couple weeks. So the plan is early August. I think the testing has been going pretty well, so I'm happy about that, and I think my timeline will work out. So yes, like I said, the Frances Pullover, my first design that I'm putting out into the world, and I'm very excited for that. This is the only finished object I have to share today, but I have an abundance of whips, so no shortage of content to show you. Oh, I guess I should talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Road Tripper tee. I test knit this a couple years back for Haley from Ozetta. This is one of her not as well-known designs. I feel like she's obviously very popular for all of her super cozy, natural-looking sweater designs and cardigan designs that she has, but this one is a really great pattern. So it's a basic raglan shaping. It's got the kind of Henley style, knit in sport weight actually. My sample was from her yarn. She used to do some natural dyeing. I don't think I've seen her do that for pretty much since this test happened back in, I think it was in 2020. So it's 100% non-superwash wool. The buttons that I used were just some wooden buttons that I got at a craft store. I thought it went nicely with the natural look of this garment. Construction top down, raglan, like I said. It's more of the boxy shape on the bottom. And then the button band is worked as you work the raglan shaping for the yoke, which is very nice. I don't like picking up for button bands, so it works out quite well. So yes, Road Tripper tee by Haley from Ozetta. I've gotten the pleasure of testing for her like 5 or 6 times now, and she is an incredible person, an amazing designer, and so definitely someone that you should look into supporting if you haven't knit any of her patterns before. Alrighty, so that is that. Let me get a sip of coffee and then we will go into my works in progress. Alrighty, whip number 1. This is what I have been referring to as the Moment Tank, and it is a self-drafted pattern, potentially being written up as an actual pattern, but seeing as it's the end of July, it's unlikely that I will put this out into the world until probably next spring or summer. So the Moment Tank is what I've been referring to it as. The reason being is it's knit in half fisherman's rib, which I feel like is really having its moment right now. So the construction is knitting the front panel flat and the back panel flat, then casting on a few for the underarms, then working in the round, ending with some ribbing, obviously not quite done yet. So the game plan is to cast on some stitches for basically the shoulders and then pick up around the armholes to finish off the shaping for the top of the tank. Pretty basic shape and everything, going here with the increases in half fisherman's rib. Working half fisherman's rib is definitely a joy to knit flat, more so than in the round, just because the abundance of purling that happens. This is knit using Autumn and Indigo's local fingering. I think she's been taking a break or is moving or something, so there isn't much yarn right now. But I had initially bought this for a colorwork sweater, However, I didn't realize that the skeins are like 53 grams rather than 100-gram skeins, so I didn't quite have enough to actually make a full garment, so a tank it became. This is knit on US 2.75, 2.75, yes, 2.75 millimeter needles. I'm using ChowGoo red lace, fixed circulars. I do love the red lace. And I think that's just about it. I'm pretty excited about this. I'm hoping that I will finish it in time to wear it at least a few times before it starts getting chillier in the fall. So I'll have to make some progress on this bad boy very soon. Alrighty, whip number 1, the Moment Tank, drafted by yours truly. Alrighty, heading on to whip number 2. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more whips to talk about. So yes, I'm one of those, a million whips at a time. It's the way I like to do things, and everyone has their own methods. So okay, next up, this is the lightweight Raglan Pullover by Pearl Soho. I'm not sure who the actual designer is, but Pearl Soho put it out. This is a free pattern on their website. Sorry, I'm trying to get some yarn untangled. Here we are. Ta-da! So I've got pretty much the entire body finished. I just have, I think, some short row shaping to finish off the neckline. This is knit from the bottom up. You do some short rows to get kind of a scoop bottom, and then the cast on is interesting. There's no ribbing, you just kind of knit this little welt, but it's really just turned up into a rolled hem, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it looks a little bit unfinished. I'm hoping that blocking will help. This is being knit in Super Wash Merino, also from Montana Crochet, in some of her one-of-a-kind colorways. So I've been using helical knitting with 2 skeins of this fingering weight yarn. The pattern for the lightweight Raglan Pullover is for a long sleeve, but my game plan is to finish the neckline and everything, and then just use up whatever yarn I have left to finish off the sleeves and have it be more of a tee. Just basic boxy tee with that little bit of short row shaping at the bottom. Very simple, very cute. I've never actually worked a bottom up Raglan before, and so that's been interesting. The whole casting on for the underarm was a new experience, and I didn't really love doing that. I just feel like it was a little bit finicky, so I definitely prefer top-down Raglans. And I think this pattern could be accomplished by knitting it top-down and then doing the short row shaping at the bottom, so interesting. The pattern does have that same kind of rolled, not rolled, but the little welt, more unfinished edge for the collar as well, but I think that I will just do some ribbing so that it lays a little bit nicer and doesn't have the roll, in the case that blocking doesn't fix that. So here we are, slightly modified lightweight Raglan Pullover, knit in fingering weight Super Wash Merino from Montana Crochet. Whip number 2. Check. Okay, dokie. Now on to number 3. Let's go here. This is the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Made Designs. I'm knitting this one in Whole Super Soft in the colorway Donkey. I'm holding this double. The pattern calls for a fingering weight in mohair or DK weight yarn, so holding this double has been perfect. I want this to just kind of be a wool sweatshirt basically, so I think I sized up based on my recommended size, so that would definitely be a more oversized, cozy, boxy fit. I finished the body and then started on one of the sleeves. However, something else new and shiny caught my eyes, so no needles on here at the moment. Yes, nothing super exciting. It's a pretty basic raglan design. Ooh, one cool thing. I saw this on Skein Cocaine's podcast, Gina. The knitting barber cords are great in theory. But I was not compelled to spend like $15 on a few pieces of plastic tubing. So I saw that Gina had just gone to a local craft store and found the same stuff in a large quantity for just a few dollars. And so I did the same, and I got this package of, I don't even know how many yards it has, but in abundance, more than I would ever need. There was black tubing and this clear tubing. So I've just been breaking off pieces to hold my sleeves, for trying on the body of my sweaters and everything. And it's been working out really, really well. I haven't actually used or seen, like in my own hands, the actual knitting barber cords, so I don't know if there is really a difference, but this does the trick. So hot tip, if you don't want to spend that much on the knitting barber cords or whatever try-on tubing, just check out your local craft store and you might be able to find this stuff as well. I think it's called like pony bead cord. Those like really classic big plastic beads. So yes, it's pretty great. Hot tip of the day. Cozy classic raglan, Jessie made designs, whole super soft. It does smell like the spinning oils. I just put my face in it. I haven't knit on this very much in long periods of time, just because, or for long periods of time, because I do actually notice myself smelling it as I go along. So maybe one of those, it's not too dramatic, but not something that I spend like hours and hours in a small, dark, closed room knitting on. Not that I really do that anyway, but yes. Cool. I'm gonna have so many tangles. Oh well. Okay, what's next? Okay, this one we shall talk about. This is another self-draft that I've been working on pretty much in the beginning stages. I'm so excited about this. I did get a little bit sad, so let me talk about the idea of this first. This is meant to be a bigger boxy sweater. I'm definitely a fan of the oversized look in general. Bigger boxy sweater in half fisherman's rib. The front paneling has faux cabling, so just using increases and decreases to get the cabled effect, but not actually doing real cables in half fisherman's rib. The back panel is just in plain half fisherman's rib. And then the idea is to have the boxier fit with some bigger sleeves. I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to put like a cable, one or more cables on the sleeves yet, but we'll pass that bridge when we get there. Cross that bridge when we get there. The reason I said it's a little bit sad is because I saw that Pom Pom magazine just a few days ago posted a somewhat similar idea, similar concept sweater that they have in their next issue, I think. And this one is ribbed cables, it appears, just based on the photo. So something a little bit similar, a similar shape that I was planning to go for, but it is slightly different concept. So I don't know. I've heard this happen to so many designers, excuse me, where you come upon other designs that are so very similar to what you've been working on. And I mean, it is what it is. There are only so many stitches and patterns and designs and everything that can be put together. So I definitely obviously finished this for myself. I am like over halfway with writing the pattern and grading everything as well. So we shall see if it actually comes to fruition or not. But I don't know. we'll just see how it goes. This one has been knit using 2 strands of whole super soft as well, and the color bleached white. And then I had some sugar bush drizzle mohair in my stash that I've been holding as well. So I can't remember what the color is, but it's just like a true white mohair. It's so squishy. I love half fisherman's rib, if you can't tell. So yes, a pattern to come. Not 100% on the name of this one yet, so we'll just leave that where it is for now. Alrighty, let's do the last couple weights. But first, coffee. Okay, the final 2 things I have are both test knits. So, wow, fuzzy here. Oh well. This first test knit is for Callie from Needles in Life. It is the Cotton Candy Tee. This one is knit. I am just cast on basically and started. I haven't even gotten to the second increase round, but cute little tee. This is for my little one, but I'm knitting it just in some Karen cotton cakes. This is a 60/40 cotton acrylic blend. Perfect for little ones, throwing in the wash and everything. Just barely started. It is a very sweet little design. Circular yoke, increases along there, and then some little like ruffly sleeves and a little ruffle peplum kind of thing on the bottom. So very, very cute. Nothing too exciting at this point, just in a light gray. What's it called? Oh, there we go. Silver Cloud is the colorway. I picked this up at Michael's, had it in my stash for forever. And that's just about as much as I can talk about here. So this test knit is due in like a week and a half, but it is a size 6 to 12 month garment, so very small, should be super quick. This probably took me like less than half an hour. I don't even know. Timing is weird. I'm poor at estimating, but very quick. I will keep rolling there. My last test knit I'm so excited about. This one is Allie's sweater. I almost said Allie's tee, which Sarah is coming out with, but this is by Sarah Opie of S Knits over on Instagram. She is pals with Allie from Explore Knits and Fibers, and so she actually started off with a sock pattern with this same motif in Allie's yarn, and then just came out with this sweater pattern, and then also a fingering weight and a DK weight tee with the same motif. On those ones, the diamonds are at the bottom of the garment, but this one is knit top down raglan. You do some short row shaping, which is where the like vertical stripes are, and then go into the 2-color work for the yoke, split for sleeves, knit in stockinette for the rest of the body, and then the hem is a split hem 1x1 ribbing with a little bit of contrast at the hem for a tubular bind off. And then the sleeves, the rest will be in stockinette, and then there are just like, I think it's like 1.5 diamonds before the cuff. And then if I remember correctly, the cuff is knit in the contrast color with the main color bind off as well, so kind of opposite of what the hem looks like. I've seen some testers who, oh my gosh, people have finished this bad boy so quick, but the testers are super awesome. I've had a lot of fun in that group. We have like a Discord channel for Allie's sweater, and then she also created one for all of the Allie's sweater and tee test knitters, so seeing all the finished objects, which the test for the tee, which is a little bit smaller, but even people have finished the fingering weight version, before I think some sweater knitters have even cast on their projects. So the test deadline for this one is until the end of August, so there's plenty of time for sure. But I'm really excited to get this one off the needles. Yarn choice for this is Juniper Moon 100% organic merino. The brown colorway is anise, and then the contrast color is, I think it's just called ivory, but pretty basic white. Non-superwash wool. I've definitely been leaning toward that for all the garments I've been knitting. I have a few projects in superwash merino, but for the most part, I've been feeling the whole natural thing going on. And I think it's also just a lot easier to find the color choices that I like, which are definitely more of the neutrals, earth tones, and everything. And so going into the 100% natural fibers, you're able to, I feel like, get a lot more of those neutrals than in the superwash or other fibers that are on the market. So yes, super excited about this. It is very cozy DK weight sweater, and I think the release is set to be like September 1st or 2nd week in September, as long as the testing goes well, which it definitely has been. So keep an eye out for this one when it gets released. S-Knits Designs. So good, so good. Okie dokie. And that brings me to the end of my whips. Nice. Oh, stack of beautiful things. I love it. Okay. Pause for a moment before we go into acquisitions. Alrighty, last few things to share. So I went to my local yarn store. It's called the Sow's Ear here in Verona, Wisconsin. It's just about 5 minutes or so away from me, so awesome to have such a great place very near. They are half yarn shop, half coffee shop cafe, which is so great. They have a lot of really awesome treats. Their coffee is fantastic, so kind of a dream place where go pick up your yarn. There's always people knitting in the cafe. They have tables and classes and everything offered there. So really awesome local yarn store to me. I picked up that Juniper Farms merino for this knit there. And at the same time, of course, you have to look through everything that they have to offer. I grabbed some of this yarn that was on sale. Oh my gosh. It is Rowan Norwegian wool, 50 grams, 100% wool, DK weight yarn. I got sweaters quantity in this colorway cappuccino. So no specific plans at the moment for this, but I have an idea for a sweater. I'm slightly hesitant just because of the fact that this is such a dark colorway. And photography is not my strong suit, so I'm a little bit nervous about putting together a design and being able to take good photographs, because the idea that I have has a little bit of texture and I just don't want it to get lost in the darker wool. So we'll see. Maybe I'll swatch it up and try to take good photos of that and see if it works out at all. Not sure, but either way, really awesome yarn on sale, of course. Everybody loves that. So Rowan Norwegian wool, very yummy. Alrighty, then, oh my goodness, the last thing that I have to share, I am so excited about. So like I talked about, I am moving toward more of the natural fibers, looking at non-superwash wools, and it's a little more difficult, I would say, to find a lot of that straight up fiber here in the States. I feel like over in Europe, people have mills and just they're like regular local yarn shops have so much, just in abundance of 100% non-superwash woolly wools, sweater quantities of solid colors, which is definitely more my jam. So I did actually look up to see if there were any fiber mills around me nearby that I could take a look at, and I found this one called Blackberry Ridge Woolen Mill over in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, which is about, I think it's about half an hour away from where I live. So I'd been wanting to try their yarn, but just never made my way out there. But then the other day, I got an inkling to go to a new yarn shop here, relatively new. This store called Sunset Yarns in Middleton, Wisconsin, a suburb of Madison, opened up in, I think it was fall of 2020, so I haven't made my way over there yet. But I decided to stop in the other day and I struck gold. So they actually sell, they're a vendor for Blackberry Ridge fiber mills. So they had so much squishy natural fibers in amazing colors. So obviously I had to pick up some. Da, 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 da. I already have this case up. It is so squishy, so yummy. This that I got is worsted weight. I wanted to have a little more satisfying of a knit. So worsted weight, medium 2-ply, 225 yards of skein. It's about 114 grams. This is 75% wool, 25% mohair. The different... My baby's crying. Hold on. Okay, we're back in business. So Blackberry Ridge Fiber Mill. Worsted weight yarn. This is in the colorway light gray. This one is paprika. Just, ooh, that's a good true color. Like the kind of rusty red brownish colorway. And then this one is just in a dark brown colorway. So yummy. I'm so excited. I can't believe I found this. Well, I can because it's here and local, but I'm very excited that I stumbled upon it in a place I wasn't expecting. So this will be a sweater, and then I also have plans for something with these two, and it's just going to be so good. I'm very excited. So struck gold, as I said, very exciting. Sheepy goodness, squishy yarn, gotta love it. Also, I have my little one right here next to me while I wrap this up really quick. Nap time ended earlier than expected. Alrighty, so that is really all I have for yarny content. I think one little segment I want to bring in is little joys or just happy moments from the week. So one thing that's definitely brought me joy is it's been very beautiful outside, and so my husband, daughter, and our Poochie Pooch have taken advantage of that and gone on some walks in the evenings, which has just been so nice to get outside and enjoy each other's company and catching up from the day and just finding joy in my wonderful little family. Oh. Okay, we'll wrap this up quickly. So thank you all for watching and tuning in. I'm not exactly sure how frequently I'm going to do this yet, so we'll see when the next one pops up. But I hope that you are enjoying all your crafting, that you're finding inspiration wherever you can see. I pray that you find some joy in your day today. Thanks for watching. Happy knitting. Bye, everyone.